I'll just come out and say it. On my show a little bit earlier today, I predicted the Saints are going to beat them 38-17, and part of me says that I underestimated how many points the Saints can put up on this Detroit defense. They've looked better. I feel like they're a fraudulent 7-4 because I think they've looked better than they are by playing absolutely terrible offenses and coming from behind and winning. Now, Slay's a good player. Ansah's a good player. It's not like Detroit is talentless on defense, but
I feel Bush is decent. We've seen him.
Yeah, he's good. There's no player or position group on that defense that makes me say
that scares
Saints have to be wary of them. And if I'm Detroit, that terrifies me because the reverse is not true. The Saints, to this point this season, have been able to be a balanced, at times destructive, and terrifying offense against much better defenses who do have elite position groups. And when you tell me, well, we're not elite at anything, to me what that says to Sean Payton is, it's not, pick one thing and attack it. It's pick everything.
Well, here's what I've got to throw out on this, and we're getting pressed for time. Not that I haven't enjoyed having you, but we'll get another few minutes. But let me throw this out there. One, the difference between defenses is this. There's so many people on Twitter right now upset about Brandon Cooks getting no targets. And I've tried to explain to them that's because the Rams employed, and you can verify because you watch film as I do, the Rams employed what's called a bracket coverage. They basically put a safety on the top of him, a corner underneath, and they just sandwiched him the entire game. He had a couple of plays, several actually, where he probably could have made the play, but usually Michael Thomas was in single coverage. He had a better opportunity. Can you agree to that?
Oh, absolutely. There was
safety set that can shut down a Cooks all game long. They don't. That means they also can't shut down.
They also don't have a pass rush that can make Drew get rid of the ball quick.
Exactly. So, for example, two of the sacks, if I recall right from the Rams, were basically coverage sacks because the Saints were trying double moves. One of them was the double move Cooks was trying to pull. They'll be able to hit those double move deep bombs to Cooks against the Lions. Well, let me say this. They should be able to. Let's not let New Orleans not be New Orleans. They could surprise us and lose by 20 points. But like you, I actually have them, I said earlier, as a 15-point favorite going into this game. Let me add this, though, because you mentioned it earlier, actually. There is a thing about momentum, and right now the Lions, I said this first half of the show, if you look at their stat sheet and didn't know their record, you would not say they have 7 wins. But because they have momentum and they have that quote-unquote it factor, they're playing with that grit and confidence, they're able to pull off a win. And at the end, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter that Stafford doesn't have 3,000 yards yet. It doesn't matter that their team hasn't even managed to run for 900 yards. Their offense is anemic compared to years past. They've managed to win. That's all that matters, and that's what scares me because New Orleans seems to have trouble with teams that can win. It's not necessarily the talented teams they struggle with. It's the teams that have the bravado with them, that have the momentum, and that have that confidence that it doesn't matter if we're down by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, we're still going to pull this off. I do believe the Saints are a better team in every facet except special teams. And I'll say that about comparing us to everybody.
High school has better special teams.
Yeah, exactly. Neville Tigers, 5A, 4A state champs have a better special teams than the New Orleans Saints. But, but on paper, we should beat them. The it factor, though, is what worries me, and that's the only thing about the Lions that scares me. It's a home game. The crowds have been more into it, especially Sunday, because we don't fall back 2 touchdowns in the first quarter lately. You know, we should be able to win this game. All roads point to 500 right now. It's just, can they pull it off?
Yeah, and one interesting distinction for me, and you know, this could blow up in my face come Sunday, you never know, but I think there is a difference between a tough team and a hot team. Just talking to the momentum thing. I think the Saints are a hot team, even with the losses against Carolina and Denver.
Yeah,
those losses came on plays where they beat themselves, which is why I wouldn't call them a tough team. Like, you know, mentally tough, mistake-free, gritty team that just finds a way to win. But I felt like they played above their level against Denver. I've honestly felt like the Saints outplayed Denver for the majority of that game, and they beat themselves on a couple of, 1 or 2 dumb, just go for it all plays, and then of course, everything that went wrong with that kick that we don't need to rehash. Hire full-time zebras though. But even against Carolina, same thing. When you're in a situation where you beat yourself, your opponent doesn't beat you, and you're just sitting there looking yourself in the mirror, and you're like, we are so much better than this, and you get angry, and then you come out and you just skull drag somebody. If we're talking from a momentum standpoint, I think the Saints are. It's not that they're riding a better wind than Detroit. It's a different kind of one, where the Saints are sitting there going, yeah, that's who we are. We know who we are.
Exactly. I mean,
this is who we're supposed to be. And Detroit's just kind of like, we don't quit.
Detroit's coming off a game where Minnesota had to literally give them the win, whereas we're coming off a game where we took the number 2 ranked scoring defense and said, hey,
took their soul.
You want to see us score some points? Have this 50-yard flea flicker. Well, man, we're at 9:11. We're in a little bit over, but that's fine. Go ahead and throw me your prediction. I know you mentioned it earlier. Also throw out where people can follow you, where they can hear your podcast, stuff like that, and we'll wrap it up for tonight. And you're more than welcome to keep coming on the show as long as you want and as often as you want as we continue every Tuesday night.
Yeah, we'll see how happy about that Brian is. But, yeah, I might drop by again.
Look, I like it. I like the Discord as long as everybody can be civil. Anybody who follows us on Twitter knows that me and you go at each other all the time because we see football differently. We're not necessarily wrong. We just see the game differently. But that's what makes it fun.
Oh, yeah. And even with at least on my end, at least with me and Brian, it's dislike, not disrespect. Yeah. If that makes sense. We don't like each other. I think we've both come to that conclusion equally, which is fine. You don't have to like everybody. I still respect him and his opinions, his profession, and I would like to think I've earned enough respect on my end for what I do, with blogging.
I don't know, man. You do call yourself Super Saiyan in your handle. It's hard to respect you for that.
Hey, man, if you didn't grow up loving DBZ, you didn't have a childhood. It's just that easy.
Dude, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm watching the new series now. I'll follow every episode.
There we go. So. Trust me, we make the playoffs. I'm turning it to Super Saiyan Blue, but that's another thing.
Oh, wow.
I just went there.
Give them your handle, man.
I'm gonna say it's 38-17. I'm gonna say Cooks goes for $150 and silences all of that. And my handle is @Kirus16. That's KIRUS 16. You guys can find me on occasionally on Canal Street Chronicles when I get off my butt, and then also I write for thesaintsnation.com. And I have my own podcast on there. So if I didn't annoy everybody on this show, feel free to drop on by. And I'm always willing to talk Saints. Whether it's debating or agreeing, it's just all fun and games for me.
All right, Brian. Y'all know me. Y'all listen. Sure enough, I don't know why you listen. I wouldn't listen to my voice, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Y'all can of course follow me at Rev Deuce Wyndham. That's RevDeucewindham. You can continue listening to all of us on Saints News. You've got the professor on Fridays. You've got game coverage on Sundays. You've got the coach speaks. We've always got something going on. And I'm actually in the works now to go back into writing. Somebody's offering moolah. Well, that'll drag somebody out of retirement. But we'll see if that actually works out. So, guys, I love y'all. I pray that God takes care of y'all. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope we have a great Sunday. If you're at the Dome, let me know. Shoot me a tweet. I will meet you, hang out with you, take a picture. We'll talk football. I want to see everybody that I can at the Dome while I'm in town. So you guys, thanks for tuning in. I love y'all. We will see you next Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. I want to thank all of our guests. Y'all have a great and blessed night. Who dat?
Who dat?
The organizer has ended this Uber conference. Goodbye.